Washington locked in crisis. President Trump defends his War Secretary Pete Hegseth as a secret strike video tears through the Pentagon. Did orders from the top trigger a double tap strike on a Venezuelan boat? The American public and lawmakers are now seeking answers, and at the center is President Trump himself. Our next report brings you all the details.
We've only just begun striking narco boats and putting narco terrorists at the bottom of the ocean.
A political storm is battering Washington. President Donald Trump has thrown his full weight behind War Secretary Pete Hegseth as outrage builds over a leaked video showing what witnesses call a double tap strike on a Venezuelan patrol boat. The incident, now under congressional investigation, has plunged the Pentagon into a credibility test. For now, Trump says it's up to Hegseth to release the video at the center of the storm.
He now says it's under review. Are you ordering the secretary to release that full video?
Whatever he decides is okay with me. So every boat we knock out of the water, every boat, we save 25,000 American lives. That was a boat loaded up with drugs. I saw the video. They were trying to turn the boat back to where it could float. And we didn't want to see that because that boat was loaded up with drugs just like everything else.
The controversy stems from a September 2nd attack on an alleged drug smuggling boat in the Pacific. An initial strike left survivors, with a follow-up attack killing those two people. According to reports, the Venezuelan vessel had already been hit once and disabled when a second missile tore through the hull. On Capitol Hill, frustration is boiling. Both Republican and Democrat lawmakers have joined forces in a rare show of unity, demanding the Pentagon release the strike orders. The strikes on alleged drug-carrying vessels have become an increasing concern of Congress. Trump calls it war against narco-terror, but experts are pointing at potential international crimes.
We have our two men who were struck out of the blue by an airstrike, okay, clinging in desperation to a vessel and trying to ride it so they don't drown, okay? Seems an incredibly horrific situation, and then the U.S. government kills them, okay? The premeditated killing of people outside of armed conflict we typically refer to as murder.
Behind closed doors, senior officials fear that once broadcast, the footage could trigger international backlash from the UN to The Hague. Venezuela is furious warning of retaliation. As pressure mounts, the question now is not whether Hegseth gave the order, but how far the White House is willing to go to protect him.
Peter Kuznick is a professor of history and director of the Nuclear Studies Institute at American University. He's joining us live from Washington, D.C. Peter, welcome back to WION. How do you see this bipartisan push to release the second strike video?
Americans are, for the most part, outraged by what they're seeing here. Secretary Hegseth has been controversial from before he took office. You have to remember that several Republicans voted with the Democrats against his confirmation. It required J.D. Vance to issue the tie-breaking vote. Trump supported him, but since he's gotten in there, he's been at best an embarrassment and at worst a war criminal.
Peter, one has to wonder, however, because of the way Washington and Capitol Hill operates, whether or not this is a manufactured crisis, especially when it comes to these boats. And again, considering the fact that there are some Republicans who have completely different accounts from the Democrats who watched the video, which just makes it more bizarre. What would be the implications in terms of damage to Hegseth and President Trump in extension if this video is released? And do you think that because a lot of members of Congress oppose Hegseth, this might fall into that and not so much specifically this strike?
I think it shows that the U.S. is using lethal force in ways that are unconstitutional in terms of American laws and also break international laws. These are civilians who are being killed. The usual procedure is to have the Coast Guard and the Navy interdict these boats. They are not to be fired upon. But Hegseth, who had changed the name of the Department of Defense to the Department of War, it was called the Department of War up to 1947. Now Hegseth has changed it back. But this is not his first scandal. If these videos are released as a bipartisan group of House Republicans and senators are demanding, then the public will get to see, as will the Senate and the House, see that this was unnecessary. This double tap strike was unnecessary and illegal in terms of international law. It means that the people who conducted it are actually murderers and can be brought up on charges, both in the U.S. courts and in The Hague. So Hegseth does not want to release that. Trump says it's up to Hegseth. Well, the Congress people are threatening to cut 25% of Hegseth's travel budget if he doesn't release these. But this is not his first scandal. We had the Signalgate scandal when he released classified strike information in Yemen back in March on an insecure line with a reporter actually tapped into this. He's thrown out the of different press organizations. He demanded that the media, all the press representatives, sign an oath that they wouldn't publish anything that the Pentagon didn't want them to publish. And they all walked out, including Fox News, his former employer. This is a man who's got right-wing neo-Nazi tattoos on his body. He is not competent for this position. Whether he should be brought up on charges is another question, but he certainly should not be the U.S. Secretary of Defense.
Okay, well, thank you so much for all of that, Peter. I look forward to speaking to you again very soon.
Thank you for having me, Susan.
For all the latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.